All right, Scott. Next one for me. You had a
Mhm.
very flammable coach that you watched in College Park for years, named Gary
Yep.
Williams. I mean, you had a couple, but
Yep.
Gary was flammable to his players, to the referees at times.
Mhm.
He makes Dan Hurley makes Gary look like a choir boy at times with the refs.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I don't know where you stand on this. Game Day had a pretty good conversation the other day, and I thought it was good.
Yep.
I've made it clear where I stand, and I love Dan. I love him. I've
So
known him
yeah.
25 years. I think he's arguably the best coach in the sport, but I can't watch him with the refs. I can't do it. I just think there's too much disrespect for Dan Hurley to human beings that are referees that are trying to do their jobs. And I just don't think there's a need to treat those guys that way at times. Not all the time, but more than anybody else in the country.
I agree. And I had a complete 180 on Dan Hurley. Complete 180. I was when he was at Rhodey, and and I'll just hand up. He had an incident with Maryland in a tournament where whatever was said, the Maryland folks would say what was said was out of bounds. Whatever. But I had a complete 180 on the guy. And I've gotten to know him a little bit. I had fantastic conversations on air, some cool conversations off just about who he is when you talk to him like this, and you know it better than me. Completely different dude. But that, and it's not shtick, but that that face and the hands behind the back and the berating of people, like enough, man.
Yes.
Enough.
It's
And
bad.
what you need in your life is somebody. Am I allowed to cuss?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
After dark.
Okay.
Do your
Well, I
thing.
just go. You need someone to call you in life. You need someone to call you on your bullshit.
Yeah.
And whether it's your spouse, your athletic director, your whoever, someone has got to be able to just like how you like John, like you have a bad game they put on the tape, right? Like, what are you doing? Like, what are we doing in pick and roll here? Like, what? And you got to look at that. And this is a bright, thoughtful man. Like, if he was an asshole, then I just say, he's not redeemable. But he's not. He's a thoughtful, bright man who, if you show him that and you go, is this really what we're going to do for 40 minutes? Like, you can't. But you know what you do if you're him? You go like this. You go, 2 in a row, buddy. 2 in a row.
That's it.
And
He's
there's
got
really
the
no
rings.
argument. Right.
The
There's
crazy
you
thing
can hold
is,
up the
2 years ago.
But when he's screaming at the dude though, Jeff, like, I'm the best coach in the effing sport.
That was bad.
Come on, man. Come on.
I know.
He,
I'll give you the
he did
Scott
not think
Foster
that was
little
gonna, he did not
seat.
think they were going to see that. He didn't think they were going to. He didn't think that was going to get out. He had to. That was funny.
Well,
But it
we
was
could
like
all read lips,
2 years
John.
ago.
Yeah.
2 years ago, Scott. Remember, TV caught him saying, "You're an effing clown" to Jeffrey Anderson, right? And they went through their 6-game losing streak, and he admitted later on in the year in the NCAA tournament that I got my act together and I wasn't completely focused on the refs, and I started coaching my team. And look at what it did. So he's proven to be able to do this before. Look in the mirror, understand it's hurting him, and change. So, I mean, I remember in Portland, he showed me he had it written in ink on his wrist, coach your guys. He showed me, but he can't sustain that. He can't maintain this because I guess he's a Hurley and they use that as an excuse. Well, Bobby has been much better this year.
Here's what I wonder. I lived up there in Connecticut for quite a while when I was, I live in DC again, where I'm from. But I lived up there, and you see what Calhoun built. And it's amazing. Like, people talk about blue bloods. And for me, I always look at it, it's Carolina, Duke, Kansas, and then, there's others. And I don't want to derail the conversation, but UConn is 1,000% a blue blood. And you can call it new money if you want, like a tech billionaire. But you know what a tech billionaire is? an effing billionaire. Okay, like their money
Mhm.
might be new,
Yeah.
but they got that money. So
Yeah.
to me, UConn is whatever you want to call. They've won more than anybody since turn of the century. And I wonder what winning two in a row does. As opposed to letting you exhale, does it almost tighten like the grip, to feel a pressure to live up to that? And I don't think that's reasonable because he doesn't have the same team. Like he's got like a bunch of pros are in the pros now, and you really threaded the needle with the portal, and the dudes you got were the perfect pieces, and that's such a difficult thing to thread. So I wonder if there's just a stress, Jeff, that increases as opposed to decreases. Like I don't think he's a dude that's like a house money guy. That you can just relax and go, I'm good, because that's just not how he's wired to my sort of viewpoint.